70 years from now, you're not going to be on this earth. 100 years from now, people that you love, or let's say in about 200 years from now, every single person that you know or that you will have met in your life and that will be on this earth with you are not going to be around here anymore. That's, on the larger scale, but, in 40 years, let's say from now, right? So if you're on my age, you're 18, 19, 20 right now. In 40 years from now, you are going to be about 60 to 70 years old. And imagine you get to, 60 to 70 years old. You've lived your life, but you get to that point and you look back and you think back to your 20-year-old self when you had all of this energy. Think back to your younger self when you had all of this energy, you had all of these goals. And you think to yourself, so why didn't I ever go on to achieve? Why didn't I ever go on to do any of these things that I really wanted to do and actually action on all of these goals? And then you remember, it's because I was scared of what people on the internet are. I was scared of what people around me, would think. You acknowledge that, but then you realize, hang on, every single person whose opinion that I gave a fuck about, every single person whose opinion stopped me from being able to do what I wanted to do, every single person who I thought of when I wanted to start that business, when I wanted to start posting that content, when I wanted to start that side hustle, every single person that I thought of back then, they're not even in my life anymore. All of the people that I've got in my life are just my wife and my kids and my few close friends, but everyone else, I haven't spoke to them in years. I don't even know where they are. I don't even know if they're still alive anymore. And then you realize, you sit back to yourself and you think, wait, so the reason why I didn't achieve all of the great things that God had in store for me and that I wanted to achieve and that I wanted to achieve for myself, the reason why I didn't achieve all of these great things is because I cared about people's opinions. But those people's opinions don't matter to me anymore because they're not even in my life. Some of them are dead. Some of them are in jail. Some of them have actually exceeded and achieved great things. They've went on to do great stuff because they didn't care about anyone's opinion. So essentially, I kept myself captive and I held myself into a box for people who aren't even in my life anymore. That was a belief. That was a conclusion that I came to in my head about 2 years ago before I started posting content. I remember for the longest amount of time, right, I was so scared of posting content. I was so scared of what people would think, putting myself out there. But one day, I remember it vividly. I remember that one day, I had that realization to myself and I thought, you know what? That is so fucking true. And ever since then, my life changed. Zoom, shifted. And whenever because what you need to understand is, especially when it comes down to anything, right? When it comes down to limiting beliefs, when it comes down to demons and mental battles that you're fighting, you'll never truly win the battle. You never truly win the war. Like there may be a few months, there may be a few good, period, even years, right, where you get over it, you don't struggle with it anymore. But from time to time, those thoughts will start to creep back in and you'll have to remind yourself. You'll have to go through that exercise again. So you'll have to go through whatever it is that you did to get out of that. So you need to understand that the battle is never truly won, right? You never really get to the end where you fully conquer it. You get really close and, you get to a point where you can maintain it, but sometimes they'll start to creep back in and you have to, shut it out. But whenever you even have those issues, and whenever I even have those issues now, I'm not an angel. From time to time, I still think, what am I doing? Why am I posting this? What are people going to think? But then I realize, who gives a fuck? Genuinely, too many people right now, and I think you even watching this video right now, if this resonates with you, it's because you're allowing people that aren't you to have way too much control and way too much power over how you operate, the things you do, and the things you want to achieve on a day-to-day basis. You're allowing people, you're allowing people who shouldn't even have a say to control everything that you do. You don't want to post this. You don't want to do this thing. You don't want to say this thing because you're scared of what they're going to think. But what you need to think about is the highest version of yourself. The person that gets all the money, the person that achieves all the great things. Do they give a fuck about whatever these other people's opinions are? Do they give a fuck about all of these other people's opinions who aren't even going to be in their life in 50 years? 9 times out of 10, it's a no. So why should you give a fuck about their opinions? It's all about operating and it's all about acting like the person that you want to be before you actually become that person. And genuinely, like, once you realize that in this life is far too short and none of it actually really matters. No one else's opinions really matters. And that no one actually is really thinking about you. Like, people might gossip about you. People might say things about you. But if we're looking at their day on a 24-hour basis, no one for more than half an hour every single day is thinking about what you're doing and heavily scrutinizing it and thinking, why the fuck is that person doing that? And, making it their mission to obsess about what you're doing. And if they are, then guess what? That's a sad person. And that's a person who 9 times out of 10, they need help. Do you know what I mean? So either way, if they are thinking about it, then that's really good, because it means that you've got so much control over their life that they're thinking about you. But 9 times out of 10, when you actually think about it, no one actually cares. People are going through some real shit every single day. People are dying. People are getting illnesses. People are, encountering real life issues that they have to face. And half of the people that you think about you, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about paying their bills. They're thinking about their assignment or whatever piece of work or their job or their future. So at the end of the day, if you allow people, or if you allow what you think other people are thinking about of you to hold you back, first of all, they're not thinking about you and you're only hurting yourself. Because even if they are thinking about you, it is your duty and it should almost be your mission to make them think about you even more, because you just carry on doing shit. You carry on overachieving them. And you show them why you are the type of person you are and why you are the type of person they'll never be, because they're too consumed with your life. And I think it comes down to as well, I watched the video of Jack Hopkins talking about it. It comes down to as well, as like, are you a type of person that gossips? Are you a type of person that thinks about other people? Because the reason why a lot of people actually think other people think about them is because they themselves think about other people. So they think, obviously, as human beings, like, we like to think that we like to think that we're like every other person, and we like to think that we like to think that every other person thinks like us, right? So if you're the type of person that gossips, if you're the type of person that talks, or you spend your life being consumed with what other people are doing, then guess what? You're going to think other people are like that as well, and therefore, that is going to hold you back. The type of man I am right now, where unless I'm doing market research or I'm just, it comes across my mind, like, I'm not thinking about any other person. I'm not gossiping about any other people. I'm not talking bad. I'm not scrutinizing, analyzing their every move. I really couldn't care less, because I've got real stuff to focus on. I've got real things I'm focused on. I've got real issues and I've got real great things to be happy about. Nowadays, like, I don't really think about other people thinking about me, because I don't think about other people. I don't care about what other people are doing. So I realize, if I don't care about other people, what other people are doing, they're probably not thinking about me. Whereas, more people definitely look and think about me than I think about them. But because I don't have the time, because I'm so busy, because I'm so consumed with getting better, becoming the best version of myself every single day, I actually don't think about these other people, okay? So what you need to do is, like, as a man, and, as someone that's watching this video right now, is you need to live beyond your edge, okay? Because the chances are, if you're thinking about other people, and if you're thinking about other people thinking about you, you're not busy enough, and you're not consumed enough, you're not living beyond your edge, and there's nothing that you're working towards and that you're fighting towards that's keeping you occupied to whereas the point where, these other circumstances and these other things that are outside of you and outside of your reality, there's nothing that's keeping you busy enough to stop you from focusing on those things, okay? So what you need to understand is, genuinely, no one thinks about you. And even if they do think about you, in 50 years, when you're old and grey, and you look back on your life, do you want people who aren't in your life, you don't even remember their name, you don't even know what they look like anymore, you don't even know if they're still alive, do you want those people to have held you back from achieving the greatness that you know and that you wanted to achieve?